Genesis 28, verse 10. Yaakov went out from Beersheba and traveled to Haran. He came to a certain place and stayed the night there. Because the sun had set, he took a stone from a place under his head and lay down there to sleep. He dreamt that there before him was a ladder resting on the ground with its top reaching the heaven, and the angels of Adonai were going up and down it. Then suddenly Adonai was standing there next to him, and he said, I am Adonai, the God of Abraham, your grandfather, and the God of Yitzhak. The land on which you are lying, I will give you and to your descendants. Your descendants will be as numerous as the grains of dust of the earth. You will expand to the west.
Stop for 1 second. I just want to bring up something I noticed this week. In verse 12, it says, He dreamt, and behold, a ladder was set earthward, and its top reached heavenwards. Like that's saying, as far as I can find, there's something going from the earth all the way to the tops of the heaven. We've already read this. Like there's already been this happened before.
Well, something that I found interesting too is that the angels have to descend first, or no, they ascend. They descend first and then they ascend, and that's exactly what like happened in the Torah and like the Midrash is that it had to descend so that we could lift it up.
There you go.
So.
Good observation. Shabbat shalom.
So maybe it being set earthward
Yeah.
and then towards the heavens.
So the other place I was thinking is.
Ladder, I wonder how they tied it off.
I know. So we read this in the Tower of Babel, that there was something on earth that reached heavenwards. And I don't know, I can't think of any other stories. So there's something about this that wants us to think of the Tower of Babel, that there's something that's on earth in the Eris going all the way to the Shemayim, and this one is like a fulfillment of that, and angels are coming up and down. The other one was man trying to get up and down it, but there's something to it. I don't know if y'all have any ideas. Mary?
I can't remember where in the Bible it is, but it talks about a tree that was like ginormous.
Yeah, Daniel 10. A tree so big that everybody in heaven or everybody on the world could see no matter where they were.
That's what
Yeah.
that makes me think about.
Yeah, me too, yeah.
It is in Ezekiel as well.
Yeah.
That's what was on my brain.
So it wants us to be thinking there, though, with that. I mean, it's the exact same words from the heavens or from the earth reaching into the heavens. So it wants us, for some reason, to think about the Tower of Babel. And now this is the Father sending that same picture. So go ahead, brother.
People trying to reach the gods from earth.
Yeah.
But one came down from heaven.
Yeah.
And guided us on how to reach him.
There's something else going on here. It's almost like the angels don't even notice him. Like, they're not even really paying attention. Like, they're going up and down. They're not really, like, making note that he's even there. He just sees this vision of it, so.
But that's like even the same with Yeshua, like he descended first. He went into the earth to be extolled, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of like Mount Sinai.
Everybody thinks that they need to go up first, but you have to come down first, and then you're raised.
Well, think about where the breath of life comes from before we're even in the womb. Like, comes from up there. Yeah.
And it says that those that elevate themselves will be brought low, but those that are brought low will be elevated.
Yeah, when he talked about the rock, he said, whoever falls upon a rock, they will be broken. But if the rock falls on you, you will be crushed.
Yeah.
So you want to be broken.
Been there. Done that.
Yeah.
Verse 14, your descendants will be as numerous as the grains of the dust on the earth. You will expand to the west and to the east, to the north and to the south. By you and your descendants, all the families of the earth will be blessed. Look, I am with you. I will guard you wherever you go, and I will bring you back into the land, because I won't leave you until I have done what I have promised you.
And that's for us, too. Like, that's him speaking to us. Like, I'm going to send you out to the whole world, and I will be with you, and I won't leave you until I bring you back into the land. Like, can you hear me?
Yeah, it's just buffering.
Oh, okay.
I will never leave you or forsake you, but you
Right.
I should connect to the internet here, huh? I don't know how to do that.
All right, verse 16. Yaakov awoke from his sleep and said, "Truly Adonai is in this place, and I didn't even know it." Then he became afraid and said, "This place is fearsome. This has to be the house of God. This is the gate of heaven." The gate of heaven. Yaakov got up early in the morning, took the stone that he had put under his head, set it up as a standing stone, poured olive oil on its top, and named the place Bet-El, house of Yah. But the town had originally been called Luz.
Light.
I wonder if that's like where you find the entrance to Gan Eden.
If it was originally called Light, then sounds like it.
Yaakov took this vow: "If God will be with me and will guard me on this road that I am traveling, giving me bread to eat and clothes to wear, so that I return to my father's house in peace, then Adonai will be my God. And this stone, which I have set up as a standing stone, will be God's house, and of everything you give me, I will faithfully return 1/10 to you."
So here's something interesting that all the rabbis and everybody, I know that, who was I reading? I believe it was Rashi this week. It says that, that Jacob spent 14 years in between now with Shem before he went. So how old was he here? Does anybody remember? 74? And then he spends 14 years before he even headed to Laban and his people to find his wife. So that was, it was 84. And she was probably around 15. He was 88 or 89. So,
Verse 21 here, when he says, "I will return to my father's house in peace," that was fulfilled in 33 and verse 18 of Genesis. It says, "And Yaakov came peacefully to the city of Ashkelon, which is in the land of Canaan, when he came from Padan Aram and camped before the city." So he came back peacefully.
yep.
And so this town of Luz was actually a Canaanite city.
Yeah.
So this is the land of Canaan.
Yeah. So I read in the book of Moshe that Canaan, Enos had a son named Canaan, and when he went into the promised land, it says that he named Canaan after his son Enos. So that's truly where the name came from, but then the people of them hardly ever lived there. It was always sojourners and foreigners and giants, and everybody else lived there except our people. So anybody when it says the people of Canaan, it's not really talking about like a people group more than just like people that have taken over the land for a period of time. But it was
Most of the Palestinians are there, Canaanite and Grecian.
right. Yeah.
Palestinian ancestry, but not much.
Right, so it's similar to that, how the Philistines and later on come Palestinians, and then, they've never had a true government or anything working in that. Yeah,
Come from the Mediterranean, they will conquer them, mix with them.
right. They're sojourners, and they've been there for long periods of time,
Like me,
but it wasn't their land to begin with.
Jewish and Native American, but I'm American now.
There you go, yeah.
The same thing.
Where you at?
It says that,
You finish that chapter.
Oh,
it says
okay.
that lose, what does lose mean spiritually? Metaphysically, meaning of lose is a bending or inclining, a turning away or departing.
Interesting.
Go ahead, Mary. You gonna read?
Yes, I am. I'm going to read. Chapter 29. So Jacob lifted his feet and went toward the land of the Easterners. He looked, and behold, a well in the field. And behold, 3 flocks of sheep lay there beside it. For from that well they would water the flocks, and the stone over the mouth of the well was large. When all the flocks would be assembled there, they would roll the stone from the mouth of the well and water the sheep. Then they would put back the stone over the mouth of the well in its place. Jacob said to them, "My brothers, where are you from?" And they said, "We are from Haran." He said to them, "Do you know that Laban, the son of Nahor?" And they said, "We know." Then he said to them, "It is well with him." They answered, "It is well. And see, his daughters, Rachel, is coming with the flock." He said, "Look, the day is still long. It is not yet time to bring the livestock in. Water the flock and go on grazing." But they said, "We will be unable to until all the flocks will have been gathered, and they will roll the stone of the mouth of the well. We will then water the flock." While he was still, there's some symbology in that.
Yeah. Who else we know that can roll away stones?
And who else gives us living water?
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry. While he was still speaking with them, Rachel had arrived with her father's flock, for she was a shepherdess. And it was when Jacob saw Rachel, daughter of Laban, his mother's brother, and the flock of Laban, his mother's brother, Jacob came forward and rolled the stone off of the mouth of the well and watered the sheep of Laban, his mother's brother. Then Jacob kissed Rachel, and he raised his voice and wept. Jacob told Rachel that he was her father's relative and that he was Rebekah's son, and then she ran and told her father. And it was when Laban heard the news of Jacob, his sister's son, he ran toward him, embraced him, kissed him, and took him to his house. He recounted to Laban all of these events. Then Laban said to him, "Nevertheless, you are my flesh and blood." And he stayed with them a month's time. Then Laban said to Jacob, "Just because you are my relative, should you serve me for nothing? Tell me, what are your wages?" Laban had 2 daughters. The name of the older one was Leah, and the name of the younger one was Rachel. Leah's eyes were tender, while Rachel was beautiful of form and beautiful of appearance. Jacob loved Rachel, so he said, "I will work for you 7 years for Rachel, for your younger daughter." Laban said, "It is better that I give her to you than I give her to you to another man. Remain with me." So Jacob worked 7 years for Rachel, and they seemed to him a few days because of his love for her. Aww.
Now that sounds like to me more like, so 7 years, but it seemed like 7 days. Like that's supposed to make us think of like creation. And so it's just, I don't, know what we can keep finding.
Think about it. Rachel was like BA. She was a shepherdess. You had to like fight off lions and bears and stuff.
She was pretty smart.
Yeah. She,
But it also wasn't like not normal for women to be shepherdesses.
she's one story that's really unusual to me.
I think he did.
Yeah.
Because it says that Jacob basically gypped his sons out of having an inheritance because of this. We'll get there.
Yeah. But she had, like you said, like she was pretty amazing. And it's weird though, because it doesn't really come out in scripture. Like every time we see her, she's fighting with her sister. They're argumentative, and it's always.
I mean, but
We don't really see the.
goes behind your back and grabs the man that you love.
But we don't know that. Like we don't know what happened. Her story is like we don't know if they even. I mean, Laban had lots of land. She could have lived on the other side of it. Laban goes and gets her. But we're about to find out in a minute why that happened anyway. And so, like, there's more to this story, and I think that we're going to see like the creation story and the Garden of Eden story come out in this a lot.
Ready?
Yeah. What verse?
21.
21.
Jacob said to Laban, "Deliver my wife, for my term is fulfilled, and I will consort with her." So Laban gathered all the people of the place and made a feast. And it was in the evening that he took Leah his daughter and brought her to him, and he consorted with her. And Laban gave her Zilpah, his maidservant, a maidservant to Leah his daughter. And it was in the morning that, behold, it was Leah. So he said to Laban, "What is this you have done to me? Was it not for Rachel that I worked for you? Why have you deceived me?" Turn the page.
So I don't know if y'all knew that, but Zilpah is also one of Laban's children, and the other one that's given, they're both his children. So all 4 of these women were like, these were his daughters, and they were half sisters to them. So all 4 daughters that Yaakov marries are all Laban's children.
Yeah,
So
I don't know if it specifically says it in scripture, but I think there's a
they all say it through. Yeah, you won't find it in this, but you'll find it in Jasher, you'll find it in the Midrash. Rashi talked about it a bunch. Yeah.
Laban said, I'm on verse 26, by the way. Laban said, such is not done in our place, to give the younger before the elder.
Hold on a second.
Okay.
So, such is not done in our place to give the younger before the elder. So, what is he saying?
He said, I should have told you that in the first place.
But who is he talking to? This is Yaakov, who took his brother's place. So he's telling Yaakov, we're not like you. Like, he's calling him out. He's like, here in our land, we give the older the first place, where you still stole the inheritance of your brother. Here, we're not like that. So, like, it's a jab.
Did he really steal
It's a
it?
jab. Well, I mean, it was meant to be. I have no doubt. But I mean, this is a jab
That's how
at
they
him.
look at it.
Like, yeah,
It's like the first and second Adam, it says that the older
right,
served the younger. And
yeah,
that's what it is, because Adam is way older than when Yeshua came, the second Adam,
yeah,
but he will serve that one.
right. So it's
The Midrash
Yeah,
says that
point.
Esau was actually supposed to take Leah, but because he went off and like took Canaanite women for wives and whatnot,
Disobedience.
Jacob
right,
had to basically perform yibum
yeah.
for his brother.
Yeah, Jasher says that too, that they were, it talks about their
Tammy said
birth
yes when-
and who they're meant for. It says both of them were meant for their, to be with the children.
It was thought that they were like twins too.
Yeah,
Leah was the older twin and Rachel was the younger.
yeah. And they knew about him. Like, he knew who he was going to collect before he started heading that way. So,
It's similar to what happened right before Yeshua came, because a lot of the Edomites mixed with the Hebrew people.
yeah. All right.
It's a good thing that seed part,
They even set up a queen before. You had a queen of Jerusalem.
right? It's a good thing that seed part we talked about during our Joash is what matters, though.
Yes.
You know what I mean? At the end of the day,
That's the true Israel.
that's right. Amen. All right, we are at verse 27. Complete the week of this one, and we will give you the other one too, for the work which you will perform for me yet another 7 years. So Jacob did so, and completed the week for her. And he gave him Rachel his daughter to him as a wife. And Laban gave Rachel his daughter Bilhah, his maidservant, to her as a maidservant. He consorted also with Rachel and loved Rachel even more than Leah. And he worked for him yet another 7 years. Yah saw
Like
that-
there it tells you, like Laban gave Rachel his daughter, Bilhah, and his daughter. So these are all his daughters, So now Laban has the daughters of these, all four of Laban's daughters.
So I wonder if this is like, the millennial. You got 7,000 years, and what if there's another 7,000?
I was thinking that same thing. Yeah, you never know.
The wheel within the wheel,
Yeah,
in a circle. I have no
Maybe a
doubt
long
it was
time.
quite
But
possible.
hey,
yeah,
you never know.
you never know.
Yah saw that Leah was unloved, so he opened her womb, but Rachel remained barren. Leah conceived and bore a son, and she called his name Reuben. And she had declared, because Yah has discerned my humiliation, for now my husband will love me. And she conceived again and bore a son, and declared, because Yah has heard that I am unloved, he has given me this one also. And she called his name Simon. Again she conceived and bore a son, and declared, this time my husband will become attached to me, for I have borne him 3 sons. Therefore he called his name Levi. She conceived again and bore a son, and declared, this time let me gratefully praise Yah. Therefore she called his name Judah. Then she stopped giving birth.
So 4 sons and 0 for Rachel.
Who would like the talking stick next?
So it goes, see a son, hearing, joining, praise.
See a son, hearing, joining, praise.
If you read the names together in the order they were born,
Yep.
that's what it says. It says, see a son, hearing, joining, praise.
Wow.
What's interesting too is that it's 4 sons, right? And there's 4 exiles from. So I think that's interesting. So the last exile being all of Judah,
Praise.
and the way they've come back is through praising Baruch Lav Hashem Adonai.
Yep.
Go ahead, Alex.
When Raquel saw that she was not bearing Jacob any children, she became jealous of her sister. So she said to Jacob, "Give me children or I'll die." Jacob became angry with her and said, "Am I in the place of Elohim, who has kept you from having children?" Then she said, "Here is Bilhah, my servant. Sleep with her so that she can bear children for me, and I too can build a family through her." So she gave him her servant Bilhah as a wife. Jacob slept with her, and she became pregnant and bore him a son. Then Raquel said, "Elohim has vindicated me. He has listened to my plea and given me a son." Because of this, she named him Dan. Raquel's servant Bilhah conceived again and bore Jacob a second son. Then Raquel said, "I have had a great struggle with my sister, and I have won." So she named him Naphtali. When Leah saw that she had stopped having children, she took her servant Silpah and gave her to Jacob as a wife. Leah's servant Silpah bore Jacob a son. Then Leah said, "What good fortune!" So she named him Gad. Leah's servant Silpah bore Jacob a second son. Then Leah said, "How happy am I! The women will call me happy." So she named him Asher. During wheat harvest, Reuben went out into the fields and found some mandrake plants, which he brought to his mother Leah. Rachel said to Leah, "Please give me some of your son's mandrakes." But she said to her, "Wasn't it enough that you took away my husband? Will you take my son's mandrakes too?"
Stop there for a second. So Rashi says these dandium, I think they've always been talked about like there's some type of aphrodisiac or something like that. But what Rashi and most of the other commentaries that I've seen on this, it seems to say they were just like flowers, more like dandelions. And he was like, that's her youngest son, Leah's youngest, Reuben. And she spent all these years taking care of Reuben, feeding him, clothing him. And this is the first time he's ever gone out on his own and brought something back for his mother. And he's coming back with a little bouquet of flowers. And Rachel looks at it and she's like, I think that in this little thing we're seeing here, she's trying to say, like, you know what? Like, for the first time ever, I think that maybe we should do this together as a family. Like, what if I let you have Yaakov tonight? You let me have some of your son's flowers, and we'll start doing this together. And, and that's why I say Leah may have not have known, she's like, first you took my husband, and now you want my son's. The first time he ever brings me a gift just for me, you want that too? Like, so she's pissed. So she may have not, she may have been tricked too. Laban, that's what he did. He tricked people into thinking, one thing was happening when something else was going on. So she was probably, So I think that he tricked her, and both of them. But they're always fighting back and forth. But this right here, you see, she's like, oh, found some dandelions basically in the field and bringing them back to his mother. And Rachel says to Leah, "Please give me some of your son's dandelions," basically, I think is what most of the consensus is what this was. There's no other word for it. It's not used again. But she said to her, "Was you taking my husband insignificant? And now you want to even take my son's dandelions?" said Rachel. "Therefore he shall lie with you tonight in return of your son's dandelions," or whatever. So I think that that's really what is happening here. I think Rachel's trying to hem it up. And read what she says next. I think it's a really mature response from her about she didn't understand.
So, what's interesting is Leah got her husband under a guise of, didn't know that it was Leah, right?
Yeah.
And she got the first night with Jacob.
Yeah.
And her oldest son, the first thing he brings to his mom, Rachel's like, well, can I have the first thing that you got from
Yeah.
your kid?
Split it from me. Yeah, just not all of it. How about we split this? Like,
Yeah,
we do this
so
together.
I think it was her trying to mend things in that way.
Yeah.
And Leah's like, oh, yeah, you give me some. So she got like a second chance
Yeah.
at the night with her husband, like, that she didn't really get the first time because the first time was under a guise of it was Rachel.
Yeah.
Like, Jacob thought it was Rachel. And so, like, this time, it's like the wedding night all over again.
Right. Yeah. So maybe, but you'll notice too after this, there's no more bickering between the two of them too. So whatever happens here squashes it. Like it's the end of this quarrel between them. And I think the next little thing we read is a really mature response from Rachel, and it kind of comes out where her character, like why Yaakov was so smitten with her, like why he was just, he was, she must be an amazing person, like you said before, but you don't really get much of it in Scripture. And there is one other place we do get it, and I can't remember where it is right now, but it's like,
Rachel's tears for her children,
is that it? In where, Jeremiah?
one of them.
Rachel's tears for her children, you kind of see it come out.
And then right here you see where it says that love covers a multitude of sins, right? If this is the last time that they bickered, you can see that they decided to instead of bickering, to love
Yeah.
and to be caring.
And both of them were, according to the rabbis, both of these are amazing women, both beautiful, both outgoing. Leah even more than the rest of them. Like you see later on, it'll say Leah, like Dana was like Leah, and that's where the whole saying, like mother, like daughter, comes from, is because of, like, Dana was so much like Leah, and they were so outgoing, so much to push people to shuvim and repent, and that they were just amazing in that way. What verse we on?
It's, Alex is reading, and we're at verse,
You remember?
16, I think.
Very well, Rachel said, he can sleep with you tonight in return for your son's mandrakes.
now we're at
So,
verse 16.
Okay, 16.
so when Jacob came in from the fields that evening, Leah went out to meet him. You must sleep with me, she said. I have hired you with my son's mandrakes. So he slept with her that night. God listened to Leah, and she became pregnant and bore Jacob a fifth son. Then Leah said, God has rewarded me for giving my servant to my husband. So she named him Issachar. Leah conceived again and bore Jacob a sixth son. Then Leah said, God has presented me with a precious gift. This time my husband will treat me with honor, because I have borne him 6 sons. So she named him Zebulun. Sometime later she gave birth to a daughter and named her Dinah. Then God remembered Rachel. He listened to her and enabled her to conceive. She became pregnant and gave birth to a son and said, God has taken away my disgrace. She named him Yosef and said, may the Lord add to me another son. After Rachel gave birth to Yosef, Jacob said to Laban, send me on my way so I can go back to my own homeland. Give me my wives and children, for whom I have served you, and I will be on my way. You know how much work I've done for you. But Laban said to him, if I have found favor in your eyes, please stay. I have learned by divination that the Lord has blessed me because of you. He added, name your wage and I will pay them. Your wages and I will pay them. Jacob said to him, you know how I have worked for you and how your livestock has fared under my care.
I'll stop for a second. So Laban told Yaakov, I have learned by divination that Hashem has blessed me on the count of you. So, like, yeah. So, I mean, it is unusual. Like, I mean, so that's why he's blessed, because there is a righteous man that lives among him, and he's blessing him. Just like the world who does divination, when the righteous live among them, they are able to change those people if they live righteously. So, but, like,
Is that why America has been lasting so long?
maybe because there's been a remnant of the righteous, and a lot of the Israelites have been gathered here from among the nations, and doesn't mean the enemy's not, still the ones in power and office and stuff, but like we do see that. But so we know here that he does divination, and later on we see the idol come into play. And I think this kind of gives us a key to like what was really going on there, and then you can read it throughout the legends of the Jews and the Jasher, what really happened. But go ahead.
Do that in Kabbalah a lot. They use the good to try to get the results that they want.
Right.
It's like a universal law. If you do certain things, those blessings will come upon you.
Yeah.
Salvation, and they use it like that, which is evil.
Yeah. Yeah, they know.
It's evil to use it like that, to use it for your own purposes.
Oh, for your own good, I got you.
Yeah. And the bond used it to see, like, oh, why am I so blessed? Joseph.
I'm not talking about divination. I'm talking about people that they do good for their own, for the flesh, pretty much.
Yeah.
Because even rich people do that. A lot of rich people, they don't give because they're just kind-giving people. They give because they know.
Well, they're trying
they know
to
that
balance.
they give, they know it'll come back. They know that because it's a law.
They're trying to balance like their evil deeds with their good deeds. Basically, they're trying to put
Make
themselves.
themselves feel better.
Well, they're trying to weigh themselves. They're trying to be their own judges, really.
Well, and they kind of exalt the darkness in Kabbalah too. They tell you the lower you are, the higher you can rise. Shall we sin that grace may abound?
Mary.
We got a question online. It says, it makes me wonder about Rachel. Why does she steal an idol if she is worshiping Yahweh?
Oh, it's a great question. So,
Maybe she was like Abraham.
so,
Her going to that man is her submitting to him.
yeah.
She's going to take on his practices and his traditions, but she was leading.
Yeah. So what Jasher and a lot of the rabbis and stuff say is that's why I just mentioned this about the divination, because he used it. Well, that's how he used it. He would use his idols to speak to unnatural powers of this world that lived in his idols, and they would tell him things. He was like fortune telling, like a crystal ball almost. So they would tell him like, yeah, this is the reason you're so blessed. If he leaves, your blessing leaves. Well, she knew that. So when they left, she took it and hid it so they would have an opportunity to get away before Laban knew. And if not, he would just go right to his idol and say, where'd they go? And the idol would tell him exactly. But it says in Jasher that it didn't matter because his neighbor had an idol too. And he just went to his neighbor and asked that idol where they were. They did buy some time, but, it also brought a curse on them because she didn't share it with Yaakov, and then he cursed her to death with it.
Like when they say, I'm going to go tell my pastor.
Yeah.
Run to their idol.
Yeah. So, but yeah, that's a good question. And yeah, if you read,
Ross answered it too on here. He said maybe she didn't want her father to continue using the false idol.
yeah, that could be, but I don't think from knowing Laban, I think she was smart enough to know, like, this man, you ain't going to change him. I'm sure she didn't want that for him, but, there's a big difference between, like, they lived among these people as light, they were much different from Laban and the rest of the family. Like, you can read it in every story that comes, like, they were, they were righteous, and Laban and his family wasn't. So I think she just knew, if I didn't take it, he'll find us right away and we won't get away. Where we at, brother? 30?
The little you had before I came has increased greatly, and the Lord has blessed you wherever I have been. But now, when may I do something for my own household? What shall I give you? He asked. Don't give me anything, Yaakov replied, but if you will do this one thing for me, I will go on tending your flocks and watching over them. Let me go through all your flocks today and remove from them every speckled or spotted sheep, every dark-colored lamb, and every spotted or speckled goat. They will be my wages, and my honesty will testify for me in the future, whenever you check on the wages you have paid me. Any goat in my possession that is not speckled or spotted, or any lamb that is not dark-colored, will be considered stolen. Agreed, said Laban. Let it be as you have said. The same day he removed all the male goats that were streaked or spotted, and all the speckled or spotted female goats, all that had white on them, and all the dark-colored lambs, and he placed them in the care of his sons. Then he put a 3-day journey between himself and Jacob, while Jacob continued to tend the rest of Laban's flocks.
All right, so real quick, Laban tells him, yeah, we'll make a deal, you keep all the spotted ones, I'll keep all the pure white ones. But then he takes all the spotted ones, gives them to his son, and only leaves him with white ones, thinking, I'm going to change the pool of, the DNA pool. Like, you won't have any spotted ones among you, so, from what we know about DNA like that, will be enough, we'll breed them, they'll all be mine. Selfish dude, always changing how things happen, but that's what just happened here, so keep going a little bit.
Jacob, however, took fresh-cut branches from poplar, almond, and plane trees and made white stripes on them by peeling the bark and exposing the white inner wood of the branches. Then he placed the peeled branches in all the watering troughs so that they would be directly in front of the flocks when they came to drink. When the flocks were in heat and came to drink, they made it in front of the branches, and they bore young that were streaked or speckled or spotted.
So what was happening? So in Jasher it says angels came down and they spoke with him, and it says that they told him basically what we all know, what your eyes behold, so you will become. So take yourself stripes, sticks, and put it in front of them, and as they behold these striped sticks and they mate, their offspring will become spotted and blemished, because whatever your eyes behold, so you become. So it's also a warning for us to watch what our eyes behold. Yeah. And go ahead, Earl.
It says that too in the Samaritan text, says the angel told him.
Yeah. So an angel tells them to come down, striping all these sticks, put them in the water, and then the offspring will be mostly for you. So Laban thought he had really got him by leaving him only with white ones, and the father gives him a way to supplant this scheme, and now all the sheep are becoming his, all the offspring. Keep going, brother.
Jacob set apart the young of the flock by themselves, but made the rest face the streaked and dark-colored animals that belonged to Laban. Thus he made separate flocks for himself and did not put them with Laban's animals. Whenever the stronger females were in heat, Jacob would place the branches in the troughs in front of the animals so that they would mate near the branches. But if the animals were weak, he would not place them there. So the weak animals went to Laban, and the strong ones to Jacob. In this way the man grew exceedingly prosperous, and came to own large flocks and female and male servants and camels and donkeys.
So he got him. So he learned a way to get all the best of the sheep and leave Laban with basically the leftovers.
Said, you tricked me, I'm gonna trick you back.
Yeah. That's what he was good at.
So I wrote down from this chapter and the last chapter all the names of what they meant.
Sure.
And maybe I'm adding it up wrong, but there's supposed to be 12, right? There's supposed to be the 12 tribes come from this chapter right here.
Benjamin's not, though. Benjamin?
But for some reason I'm getting 13.
Oh, because you have Dana and
Oh, Dana, yeah.
yeah, you have Dana.
I added Dana in there. That's right. So it says, with everything that's here, it says, see a son hearing joining phrase. He judged my wrestling, good fortune. Happy reward living together, controversy over rights may he add.
Yeah. Oh, that's interesting.
David said goes back to the blessing Yah gives to Abraham in chapter 12.
Sure does. 31. Got it?
31. And he heard Laban's son's words, saying, Yaakov has taken everything that was my father's, and he has made all the wealth from what is my father's. And Yaakov saw Laban's face, and here he was not like the day before yesterday with him. And Yah said to Yaakov, go back to your father's land, to your birthplace, and I will be with you. And Yaakov sent and called Rachel and Leah to the field to his flock and said to them, I see your father's face, that he is not like the day before yesterday unto me, and my father's Elohim has been with me. And you know I have served your father with all my might, and your father has toyed with me and changed my pay 10 times. And Elohim hasn't let him do bad unto me. If he would say this, the speckled will be your pay. Then all the flock gave birth to speckled. If he would say this, the streak be your pay, then all the flock gave birth to streaks. And Elohim had delivered your father's livestock and given them unto me. And it was at that time, at the time of the flocks being in heat, that I raised my eyes and saw in a dream, and here were the he-goats that were going up upon the flock of the speckled and spotted. And the angel of Elohim said to me, said in a dream, Yaakov, I said, I'm here. He said, raise your eyes and see all the he-goats that are going up upon the flocks of the streaked and speckled and spotted, because I have seen everything that Laban is doing to you. I am the Elohim of Bethel, where you anointed the pillar, where you made the vow unto me. Now get up and go from this land, and go back to the land of your birth. And Rachel and Leah answered, and they said unto him, do you still have a portion and legacy in our father's house? Aren't we thought of as foreigners by him, because he sold us and has eaten up our money as well? Because all the wealth that Elohim has delivered from our father is ours and our children. And now do everything that Elohim has said to you. And Yaakov got up and carried his children and his wives and his camels. And he drove all the cattle and all the property that he had acquired, and the cattle that was his possession that he had acquired at Padan Aram, into Isaac his father at the land of Canaan. And Laban had gone to shear his flocks, and Rachel stole the teraphim that her father had. And Yaakov stole the heart of Laban, the Aramean, by not telling him that he was fleeing, and he fled, he and everyone that he had. And he got up and crossed the river and set his face towards Mount Gilead.
1 second. Let me run something else by y'all. Tell me what you think. So I think there's a lot of ways that this is pointing also to the Garden of Eden. So now we have two stories of in the Garden of Eden, we have a father with Eve who reaches out and grabs a forbidden thing and takes a bite of it. And then now we have a earthly father, Laban, who has a forbidden thing that she wasn't supposed to take. She reaches out and takes it. Both of them end up causing death for them. And so just think of that as we continue to read through this. This is trying to point us back to that story. And, there's probably some amazing reasons I haven't figured out yet, but it really wants you to be thinking about the garden and the father of heaven and this earthly father, Laban, and all the comparisons, because there's going to be quite a few coming up.
I got some commentary for this is basically pointing out verse 13, where it says, I am the God of Bethel, where you anointed a standing stone with oil, where you vowed to me. So he says, where you, he repeats it twice. It says the double use of where in verse 13 reveals that Bethel, here is a place name and not a divine name. The title is intended not to limit God to a specific locale, but instead to remind Yaakov of the Abrahamic covenant, the promise of constant protection from the eternal and safe return.
good.
Hannibal,
He did tell him, I will be with you everywhere you go, not just there.
Come sit down, beautiful boy.
So yeah, now we see Yaakov, unlike his father, who never left the land, like Earl was talking about earlier, who always stayed in Israel. He tried to leave when the famine came, but he couldn't. So Isaac ended up staying in Israel the whole time and never left. And then we see Yaakov, now he's leaving the land to go bring back his promised bride and starts all the tribes of Israel outside the land of Israel before he comes back. So I think that's another interesting thing to just ponder on, and like, what could it mean? Because now all the tribes of Israel are living outside the land and we're being gathered together. So there's a little something to that coming out in this story too. Where are we?
Verse 22. And it was told to Laban on the third day that Yaakov had fled. And he took his brothers and with him and pursued him 7 days' journey and caught up with him at Mount Gilead. And Elohim came to Laban the Aramean in a night dream and said to him, watch yourself in case you speak with Yaakov, good or bad. And Laban caught up to Yaakov, and Yaakov set up his tent in the morning, and Laban set up with his brother at Mount Gilead. And Laban said to Yaakov, what have you done that you have stole my heart and driven off my daughters like prisoners by the sword? Why did you hide so as to flee? And you stole from me, and you didn't tell me. And I would have sent you off with happiness, with song, with drum, and with lyre. And you didn't permit me to kiss my sons and my daughters. Now you have been foolish to do this. The God at my father's at my hand has the means to do bad unto you. But your fathers, Elohim, said to me yesterday, saying, watch yourself from speaking with Yaakov from good or bad. That's pretty neat in verse 29 in this Bible. It has God, it's not capitalized. It's talking about Laban's God.
Yeah.
And now you went because you longed for your father's house. Why did you steal my gods? Yaakov answered, and he said to Laban, because I was afraid, because I said, in case you'll seize your daughters from me, let the one to whom you find your gods not live. In front of our brothers, recognize and take what's yours with me. And Yaakov did not know that Rachel had stole them. And Laban came unto Yaakov's tent and Leah's tent and the two maids' tent, and he did not find them. And he came out of Leah's tent and went to Rachel's tent. And Rachel had taken the teraphim and put them in a camel's saddle and sat on it. And Laban felt around the whole tent and did not find them. And then she said to her father, let it not offend my master's eyes. I am not able to get up before you because I have the way of women. And he searched and did not find the teraphim. And Yaakov was angered, and he quarreled with Laban. And Yaakov answered, and he said unto Laban, what is my offense? What is my sin that you have blazed after me? That you felt around all my belongings? What did you find out of all our house belongings? Set it here in front of my brothers and your brothers, and let them judge between the two of us. These 20 years I have been with you. Your ewes and your she-goats haven't lost their offspring. I haven't eaten your flocks of rams. I haven't brought you one torn up. I would miss it. You would axe it from my hand, be it stolen by day or by night. I was in the daytime heat. Heat ate me up, and ice at night, and my sheep fled from my eyes. These 20 years I have had in your house, I have worked for you 14 years for your 2 daughters, 6 years for your flock, and you have changed my pay 10 times. If I hadn't had my father's Elohim, the Elohim of Abraham, the awe of Isaac, by now you would have sent me away empty-handed.
You know, the Chumash says, you've changed my wages 100 times. But, I don't know. And what did you say, 10?
Yeah, 10.
10? I wonder there's significance in these numbers. I wonder.
Elohim saw my degradation and my hand's exhaustion, and he pointed it out last night. Laban answered and said unto Yaakov, the daughters are my daughters, the sons are my sons, the flocks are my flock, and everything that you see is mine. But what shall I do to my daughters to these today, or to their children to whom they've given birth? So now, come let us make a covenant, I and you, and let it be a witness between me and you. And Yaakov took a stone and set it up as a pillar. And Yaakov said to his brother, collect the stones. And they took stones and made a pile and ate there at the pile. And Laban called it Yagor Shadauta, and Yaakov called it Galed. And Laban said, this pile was a witness between me and you today. On account of this, he called the name Galed and Mizpah, because he said, may Yah observe between me and you, and when one is hidden from the other. If you degrade my daughters, and if you take wives in addition to my daughters, no man is with us. Elohim is witness between me and you. And Laban said to Yaakov, here is a pile, and here is a pillar that I have casted between me and you. This pile was a witness, and this pillar is a witness, that I won't cross this pile to you, and you won't cross the pile or this pillar to me for bad. Let Abraham's Elohim.
That right there to me sounds more like leaving the garden too. You know, I'm going to put some angels in the way, and you will not come back into this land. And like the same like words are happening here. It's coming together. Like there's going to be something here in your way that will keep, like, you don't come back in my land and I won't come into yours. But it's like another picture of leaving the garden. And, you know, even though this was, you know, not that, like now he's going into the promised land, but it's the opposite. Now we're going back. So it's the story being told him. Now he's going in the promised land, and he's like, they're setting up something now to where you can't come into my land. I won't come back to yours. But it's the still same language of there's something now in the way from you entering back into this land and me into yours.
Kind of the same with the Noah story too, like what's got to happen before we can all be brought back
Yeah.
to the land.
Yeah.
Something serious, something big.
53. Let Abraham's Elohim and Nahor's gods, their father's gods, judge between us. And Yaakov swore by the awe of his father Isaac. And Yaakov made a sacrifice in the mountain and called his brother to eat bread. And they ate bread and spent the night in the mountain.
There's 3 more verses. You want to go ahead?
And Laban got up early in the morning and kissed his sons and his daughters and blessed them and went. And Laban went back to his place, and Yaakov went away. And the angels of Elohim came upon him. And Yaakov said, when he saw them, this is the camp of Elohim, and he called that place Mahanim.
Cool. That's the Torah portion. They always try to stop on a like a upbeat note. That's why sometimes it just will go a couple verses into like the next chapter, because they always want to stop on, you know, leave you feeling blessed and not discouraged.
That almost sounds like the guy's name that was the vice president over the temple right before Hillel took over. Manahim, I think it's pronounced a little different. He was a Syrian.
I think there's something to this. We always see this in Scripture too. Like whenever somebody wakes up early in the morning, like to do something, you know, we see it with Abraham to go to the Amidah for Isaac. The binding of Isaac. We see it, like, you kind of see it over and over. You see it with Balaam, because he gets up, saddles his donkey early, like whenever they do it. But he gets up, he kisses his children, sons and daughters, he blesses them. Then Laban turned home to his place. Jacob went on his way, and angels of Elohim encountered him. And Jacob said when he saw them, this is a goodly camp. So they called the name of the place Mahanim. So what'd you say it meant?
It says 2 camps.
2 camps.
Mahanaim, 2 camps.
So that's the place that he left. There's 2 camps there.
2 camps. What was the 2 camps? It was the camp for the righteous and the camp, in my opinion, camp for the righteous and the camp for the unrighteous. Because you have the camp of Lavan,
Wheat and the tares.
Yeah.
and you have the camp of Yaakov.
And then
And in between them was the pillar that they couldn't cross.
well, what's this week's half Torah? Y'all want to do it?
Half Torah is
Hosea,
Hosea,
10 or
Hosea 12,
12.
verse 13 to 14, or it could be 12 to 14, depending on your
I can read it out of the Chumash too. I have the
Hosea.
Okay.
Hosea 12.
No, you go ahead.
talking stick. So we're gonna do the Haftarah.
Yeah, I think it's pretty encouraging. It's about Ephraim.
I like it. My people is unsure about returning to me. It is summoned to the Most High One, but it does not rise in unity. How can I give you over, O Ephraim? Hand you over, O Israel? How can I make you like Admah, set you like Zeboim? My heart is transformed within me. My regrets were stirred up at all once. I will not carry out my burning wrath. I will not return to destroy Ephraim, for I am God and not a man, the Holy One within you, and I will not come to a different city. They will follow Yah when he calls like a roaring lion, for when he roars, the children will hasten from the west. They will hasten like a bird from Egypt and like a dove from the land of Assyria, and I shall return them to their homes, the words of Yah. Ephraim surrounded me with lies, and the house of Israel with deceit. But Judah enforces the mastery of God and is faithful to the Holy One. Ephraim grazes on wind and pursues the east wind. All day long he multiplies lies and violence, and he seals a covenant with Assyria and delivers oil to Egypt. Hashem, Yah, will have a grievance against Judah, will recall upon Jacob according to his ways, will requite him according to his deeds. In the womb he held his brother's heel, and in his prime he became an angel's master. He mastered an angel, and he triumphed the angel, wept and entreated him. In Bethel he will find us, and there he will speak with us. Yah is the God of legions. His remembrance is Hashem, and you shall find tranquility in God. Observe kindness and justice, and place hope in your God constantly. You are like a traitor with false scales in his hand, who loves to defraud. Ephraim would proclaim, surely I have grown wealthy. I have succeeded because of my power. In all of my accomplishments, they will not find in me any iniquity that is a sin. But I, Yah, am your God since the land of Egypt. I shall settle you in tents again as in times of yore. I spoke to the prophets, and I multiplied visions, and through the prophets I spoke metaphors. If travail befalls Gilead, surely it is because they were false. In Gilgal they sacrificed oxen. Their altars as well were like stony heaps on the furrows of the fields.
What was that, too?
That was that page, but I could.
It goes Hosea 12:13.
What verse you on?
Through chapter 14, verse 10.
What verse were
I'm
you?
not reading the same kind of Bible you are, so you just confused the heck out of me.
What verse were you following along?
No.
I'm in the Chumash, and he's
Oh,
in
okay.
a Jewish complete Bible, so.
Was anybody following along with that?
Okay.
So what chapter were you reading in?
I don't.
You just went to page, I saw that where it says the half Torah, go to page 11.
That's what I'm reading.
Yeah, it says go to,
No, it's out of Hosea.
Okay.
Chapter 11. And Alex knows what I'm doing. Where do I need to go?
Chapter 12, verse 12. Jacob fled to the country of Aram. Israel served to get along.
Okay, I see where I'm at now. Jacob fled to the field of Aram. Israel labored for a wife, and for a wife he tended sheep. Through a prophet, Yah brought up Israel from Egypt, and through a prophet it was tended. Ephraim, provoked with bitter sins, his bloodshed will spread upon him, and his Lord will bring his disgrace back to him. When Ephraim spoke rebuke, he was uplifted in Israel. But when he sinned with the Baal, he died. And now they continue to sin, and they made themselves molten idols from their silver, idols in those images, entirely the work of artisans. To them they say, to kiss the calves is like offering a human. Therefore they shall be like the morning cloud and like the early dew that passes on, like chaff storming away
Tell me what
from the
verse you're on,
threshing floor,
real
and
quick, Mary.
smoke out of the skylight.
Tell me what verse you're on. You read so fast, I can't keep up.
I'm reading too fast.
Huh? I never found where we were.
I'm
So.
chapter 13, verse 4 on page
Verse 4?
1140 in the Chumash.
Okay.
Or if you're in a regular Bible, it's just chapter 13, verse 4.
Oh, you're good.
Okay. I am Yah, your God, since the land of Egypt, and you did not know a God other than me, and there is no Savior other than me. I'm going to read that again real quick. I am Yah, your God, since the land of Egypt, and you did not know a God other than me, and there is no Savior other than me. I knew you in the wilderness, in a thirsty land. I just love that. Sorry, y'all. When they came to their pasture and were satiated, they were satiated, and their heart became haughty, and that is why they forgot me. So I became toward them like a lion. I lurked like a leopard on the way. I shall strike at them like a bear bereft, and tear at their closed heart. I shall devour them like a lioness. The beast of the field shall tear them apart. You corrupted yourself, O Israel, for your help is only through me. I shall be eternal, but where is your king who is to save you in all your cities, and your judges of whom you said, give me a king and princes? I gave you a king in my anger and took him away in my wrath. Ephraim's iniquity is bound up, his sin is stored away. Labor pains shall come upon him. He is an unwise son, for in time he will not withstand the birthstool of children. From the power of the grave I would save them. From death I would redeem them. But I will speak with you of death. I will cut you off to the grave. Comfort will be hidden from my eyes. For he was to be the fruitful one among the brothers, but the east wind will come. Yah's wind will ascend from the desert. His spring will be dried, and his wellspring made a red. It will plunder the treasury of every desirable vessel. Chapter 14. Samaria will be desolate because she rebelled against her God. They will fall by the sword. Their babes will be smashed, and its pregnant women torn asunder. Return, O Israel, to Yah your God, for you have stumbled throughout your iniquity. Take words with you and return to Yah. Say to him, forgive every sin and accept goodness, and let our lips substitute for bulls. Assyria cannot help us. We will not ride the horse, nor will we ever again call our handiwork our God. Only in you will the orphan find compassion. I shall heal their rebelliousness. I shall love them willingly, for my wrath will be withdrawn from them. I shall be like the dew to Israel. It will blossom like the rose and strike its roots like the forest of Lebanon. Its tender branches will spread, and its glory will be like an olive tree. Its aroma will be like the Lebanon. Tranquil will be those who sit in its shade. They will refresh themselves like grain and blossom like the grapevine. Their reputation will be like the wine of Lebanon. Ephraim will say, what more need have I for idols? I will respond and look to him. I am like an ever-fresh cypress. From me shall your fruit be found. Whoever is wise will understand these. A discerning person will know them, for the ways of Yah are just. The righteous will walk in them, but sinners will stumble upon them. Do I keep reading that last?
No, you're good. Yeah, thank you. So yeah, that kind of reads like Revelations. It kind of like starts off as a negative, goes into a positive, goes back around in a circle into a negative again, and so it's just like circulatory, like telling you like, I'll let you go into, dispersed all over the world. I'm going to bring you back, and then it does it a few times, but it's beautiful. It's talking about Ephraim and how he's going to redeem us from among all the people and bring us back and make us one people again.
Have another commentary here in chapter 13, where in chapter 13, 14 through 15, it says, Should I ransom them from the power of Sheol? Should I redeem them from death? Where are your plagues, death? Where is your destruction, Sheol? My eyes are closed to compassion. For though he flourishes among the reeds, an east wind will come, a wind from Adonai, blowing up from the desert. Then his water source will dry up. Then his spring will fail. It will plunder his treasury, removing every precious thing. It says, this is quoted from Saul in 1 Corinthians 15, 54, 55, concerning the hope believers have in Messiah. Sheol is the land of the dead, often translated as the grave.
Patrick, what look up on your thing what the Brit Hadashah Torah portion is for today. Oh, you got it? Okay, yeah, you got it too.
In my book, it says that the Brit Hadashah is Yochanan 1:43-51.
What do you got?
The one at the synagogue is 16, I think.
For here, but they don't ever line up though, do they? They're just in order from like beginning to end. Yeah, I think that they're just in like, yeah, Matthew, Mark.
16 is what I read in the Drosh this morning.
Yeah,
Talks to Peter and
these are in order. They don't like, but this one's really good about like it'll be similar. Whatever's in there will be similar. So read it.
Yeah, so this one is Yochanan or John, chapter 1, 43-51. Let me get there in just a second. John 1, 43. (43 through 51). That's John 1, 43 through 51. It says, the next day, having decided to leave for Galilee, Yeshua found Philip and said, follow me. Philip said, from Bethsaida, the town where Andrew and Caiaphas lived. Philip found Nathanael and told him, we found the one that Moshe wrote about in the Torah, also the prophets. It's Yeshua ben Yosef from Nazareth.
Wait. Where did Moshe write about him in the Torah?
Where did Moshe write about who?
They're talking about we found the one that Moshe wrote about in the Torah. Who? Like where? Where's
same.
one?
So where did he write about?
Yeah.
I mean, we just read where he just said,
Oh, that's
Yeah,
right.
but
A lot of places.
but where? Where did Moshe say? Like he never even spoke. There's no Messiah in the Torah.
Right.
Right. I mean,
the salvation.
Come and speak.
he spoke about a story coming out of Yaakov in Numbers, and it was pretty precise talking about the Messiah.
in Numbers.
You want to find it, Johnny?
What?
Is that what you want to find it?
Oh, I'm just trying to think. Like where does Moshe speak? I mean, I know one place that he speaks of him. It's a prophet likened unto Moshe that will come, because I mean, he's coming as our Messiah, but has he come already as our Messiah? Like, has he fulfilled everything a Messiah will fulfill? I mean, no. He's coming to fulfill that. He came as a prophet likened unto Moshe.
It depends on what they say he's supposed to fulfill, because a lot of people, when they say that, they're taking stuff out of the prophets.
What do you mean?
It should come from the Torah. Whatever
Yeah.
he has to fulfill is in the Torah, not in the prophets. The prophets can be twisted up easy, and that's what people do. Because the first promise we get of Messiah is Genesis 3:15, and that's just a straight up, simple promise that the seed will destroy, will crush the head of the serpent.
Yeah.
The one in Numbers is Numbers 24:17. This is Balaam prophesying. He says, I shall see him, but not now. I will behold him, but not nigh. There shall come a store out of Yaakov, and the scepter shall rise out of Israel, and shall smite the corners of Moab and destroy the children of Seth. Seth represents all of humanity, the children of Seth. That was Eve's other son. And he would destroy all the children of Seth.
So would you say that the Messiah came as the Messiah, or he came as a prophet likened unto Moshe? Because none of this has been fulfilled. He hadn't destroyed the enemy. Like, well, I believe he's the Messiah too, but did he come as the Messiah? Did he fulfill everything that the Messiah would fulfill? This is why Judah can't believe.
I think he has to fulfill everything that the Messiah has to
Yeah, it
fulfill to
doesn't
be
say
the
that in
Messiah.
Scripture. That's what Judaism says.
But he will, though, right?
He will.
You think he
That
will,
doesn't
right?
make him not the Messiah already.
Well, a Messiah means anointed one. But so if you're waiting on a Messiah that has to come fulfill everything, then like,
When they say he has to gather Israel, he hasn't gathered Israel.
yeah.
Through the Spirit, he has gathered Israel. Because his Spirit has been, it says, you who were barren, break forth. You who had no children, now she will outnumber the one that has a husband. The giving of the Spirit on Shabbat.
But has he gathered them, or is he gathering them? That's what I'm saying. Like, are we not in the middle of the prophecy and not at the end?
Talking about the Spirit. I think even in the Spirit, he's still gathering.
Right. I mean, when this awakening only started in like 2000, you know.
Before the foundation of the world, everything is fulfilled. It's been fulfilled. We just don't see it yet.
I agree with that.
Coming to pass.
catching up, if that makes sense.
What do you mean?
We're catching up with the fulfillment.
Oh, okay. I mean, I believe that he's the Messiah, but I think that Judah has a tough time seeing him because he hadn't fulfilled the thing that he was supposed to do. So he said, another one comes likened unto me. Moshe saying that he's a humble servant. He's going to come tell you the things you need to know. Listen to him, and he'll be the one that comes before the one that says, the Messiah, Yeshua, says, like, I go and return. I go to prepare a place. I return with my prize. And that's when I come back as the Messiah. So I think it's just easier to, you know.
That's a doctrine that people are starting to come with now. I got a friend who denied Messiah, and he said if he comes.
But I didn't deny Messiah. So that's not a doctrine I'm talking about. I did not just deny Messiah. Yeah.
If that was you, I wouldn't even deal with you, so that's not the issue. Yeah. But the guy that said that, he said that if he comes back and fulfills it, then he'll be the Messiah. But right now, he's not the Messiah.
Well, Messiah means the anointed one that's coming to fulfill all these things. So, like, I think he's our Messiah. We're waiting on him to come and fulfill all this. But, like,
It's just like King David was anointed Messiah, but he didn't have his throne yet.
Yeah.
And the people, they chose another, which is going to happen. They're
Yeah.
going to choose another to be their Messiah, and many people will follow that person.
Yeah. So I agree. I mean, I don't know I agree that he is our Messiah. He's coming, but I think that he came to fulfill the prophet likened unto Moshe. And, you know, and he fulfilled lots of things that the Messiah is going to do, but he's coming to fulfill that role of restoring everybody back to one that hasn't happened yet in the future.
Come back in order to do that.
It's happening now.
It has to come into our heart, the temple where the Holy Spirit.
Yeah, and it's happening now. Like, so we're in the middle of the fulfillment of what we have been waiting on seeing. That's why I agree with that.
Verse 46, it says, Nathanael answered him, Nazareth? Can anything good come from there? Come and see, Philip said to him. Yeshua saw Nathanael coming towards him and remarked about him, Here is a true son of Israel. Nothing false is in him. Nathanael said to him, How do you know me? Yeshua answered him, Before Philip called you, when you were under the fig tree, I saw you. Nathanael said, Rabbi, you are the Son of God. You are the King of Israel. Yeshua answered him, You believe all this just because I told you I saw you under the fig tree? You will see greater things than that. Then he said to him, Yes, indeed, I tell you that you will see heaven opened and the angels of God going up and coming down
There it is again.
on the Son of Man. So the Son of Man is the ladder.
Yeah. So there's a third place that you can see that from the earth to the heavens, going up and down. That's why I like reading the complete Jewish Bible is really good with bringing them together.
It says here, another commentary from verse 51, it said, Son of Man, an important title for the Messiah used by Yeshua to refer to himself. In Second Temple literature, Son of Man expresses Messiah's deity far more than the title Son of God. C is the Messiah is the Son of God or Son of Man, or both. Mark 2:28.
Because everybody would have said they were sons of God. That all of Judah and Israel would have said that. But yeah, the Son of Man was the one that all the prophecies tied to it. Is that all for the Brit Hadashah?
That was it.
All right.
Now you have to sing the turn up the light song.
I ain't doing that.
Come on, be ready for a day. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.